Faster Fluency Conversation Club podcast, tips for setting goals and sticking to them. Who would you be if you dared to speak up in English? Let's find out. The English Conversation Club podcast features authentic conversations in real-life English on topics hand-picked for international professionals. Listen to our lively team of business English coaches discuss topics like business trends, success, and work-life balance, but also cultural differences and social topics. And if you want to practice speaking English, meet us at our English Conversation Club for small group discussions with international professionals in a judgment-free zone. Feeling shy? Feeling nervous? This is for you. Whether you need English for when you travel, to answer the phone at work, or to give presentations, this is for you. For details, go to mybusinessenglishcourses.com/English-conversation-club. Hey there, Christina, and today I'm here with Lyndsie, and we're talking about a topic that I really enjoy, which is all about tips for setting goals and trying to stick to them. And Lyndsie, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing well, doing well. So I guess first question is just for you. Do you have any tips or techniques or any practices that you do to, set your goals and then try to stick to them?
Yeah, so I'm not as good at this as you are because I know you are a super goal setter, but I
I
do
try,
try.
but
You're really good at it.
yeah, thank
I
you.
try to map out, my personal goals, my professional goals,
Mm,
write them down, look
yeah,
at them over and over
yeah,
throughout the year.
mm,
I just have them sitting at my desk so I know
yeah,
what I'm looking forward to through the year.
mm. Yeah, and I think that's an important thing is um, yeah, two things that you said, like taking the time to sit down and to
Mhm.
actually map it out. Because I feel like if you don't have if you don't know what your goals are and where you're going, whether it's like for this month or this quarter or this year or whatever, um, I mean, I feel like it's almost like just taking your car and saying, I'm gonna go somewhere. Like you're just probably not going to end up at the place that you actually really wanted to go. And you're probably going to lose a lot of time because you don't know exactly where you're going. You're just kind of like, oh, I'm going to go and I'll see where the road takes me and I'll go that way and we'll see. And I mean, that can be good for some things like in life where you want to have that spontaneity and that room for just whatever comes at you and to be able to live in the moment and all that stuff. But I feel like if you've got your goals, you want to take that time to map them out. And then I find, that writing them down by hand, like pen and paper, um,
Yes.
I find that I don't know, for me, I just like that a lot better than if typing it into a tool like Google Calendar or even Basecamp, which is the tool that we use to organize ourselves. But yeah, like writing it down on paper, I feel like is an important thing.
Yeah, I think that because we're so used to working on computers, just typing them in once a year doesn't work. You need to
Mm,
actually put them on paper and break them down.
mm,
The person that I am in January is not the person that I am in September. My
yeah,
goals are going to change.
exactly.
So it's really important that you set them almost monthly, weekly, at
Mm,
least quarterly, so that
yeah,
you know which ones you're going to follow through with this month or next
mm,
month, or if this is a long-term goal or a 5-year goal.
yeah.
But yeah, you have to look at them more than once in January when you're your best new self.
Exactly. Like, don't just set your resolution in January and be like, all right, I'm good, got it. We're good to go for the whole year.
Exactly.
Okay, so I don't do this as regularly as I would like. But I found that one of the practices that helps me to stay on track and really follow through on the goals, but also to have that flexibility to adjust through the year. Like you said, maybe your goal that you think is your goal in January. Well, when you get to September, you find out that that really, in fact, is not the way that you want to go. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to set your goals and then to change them as things evolve, and because you have to adapt as well, because you learn things as you go. But yeah, one of the things that I try to do regularly is like each week to sit down and say like, okay, what is my someday goal? Like, this is like, what do I want to do someday? Like, this is kind of like the bigger goal. And then break that down of like, well, what do I want to have accomplished in 5 years? And then in what do I want to have accomplished in 1 year? And this month. And then like it gets down to what can I do this week that helps me to move closer to that 1 month goal. And the idea is that you're kind of stacking them on top of each other. So like whatever your someday goal is, like, well, where do I need to be in 5 years that's going to help me to achieve that someday goal? And your 1 year goal, well, what do I need to work on in the next year that's going to put me on the path to my 5 year goal? And so on down the list. And the idea is that, yeah, you really break it down to this big giant goal, which, I don't know, let's just take a imaginary goal. Somebody says, I want to make $1 million with my business. Well, okay, that's great. But what do you need to do in 5 years to get there? And what do you need to do in 1 year to be on track to meet that goal? And break it down to say, well, this week, what can I do to put me on the path? And again, that goes back to like mapping it out. What's the one little thing that I can do this week that's going to move me closer to that goal? And like I said, the goal can change. But that's one of the things that I found very helpful that I should sit down and do every single week. But I'll be honest and say that I don't always take the time to do it, but maybe I need to. So,
and I'll say what you said was very important. Like 5 year goals are going to be big goals. But for me, I set a lot of smaller goals for myself, because if I don't, the goals won't happen. It's just, being more productive, being on the computer, being, very in touch with the clients that we have, the teachers that we have. And smaller goals for me are weekly. It's, well, did I do everything that I could for this goal to reach that year goal of being, more productive, better, making that $1 million. If you don't set the small goals, you'll never get to the big goals.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, there's this image, we'll have to find it, but it's like, don't underestimate the importance of small steps. And you see like, I'll try to describe the picture, but there's an image of one person with a ladder that just has, steps on the ladder that are big and far apart. And so it's the person can't get up to that first step because it's too big. Whereas the other person is standing in front of a ladder that has smaller steps. But the idea is that like, well, yeah, you can reach that first smaller step and that takes you to the next step and the next step. And then you can get to the top of the ladder. But if you're only trying to reach that one big goal first, it's going to be so big that you don't reach it and you just don't go anywhere. So, I would say don't underestimate the power of small goals. And I think, that would be if I had to give people one tip, it would be start small and work your way to the big goal.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think in the long run, these smaller goals are just as important, if not more important than your huge goals.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Lyndsie, for sharing your tips there, and talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the English Conversation Club podcast. We hope today's authentic conversation in real life English inspired you to go further with your English conversation skills. Remember, whether you're feeling shy or nervous, our English Conversation Club is the perfect place to practice and improve. Join us for engaging small group discussions with international professionals in a supportive, judgment-free environment. Take the next step in your English speaking journey and become a member of the English Conversation Club at mybusinessenglishcourses.com/English-conversation-club. Until next time, keep daring to speak up in English.